Employees are queuing at the company's door to receive their paychecks. A lazy employee arrives and wants to get in front of everyone. The slacker calls the young woman out, but she refuses and tells him to go to the end of the line. The slacker says that the young woman is very hostile, and she says that he is too. She says that if he wants to be at the front of the line, he should have arrived early. The slacker keeps telling the young woman to excuse herself, but she asks who is going to make her. The slacker says that no one is going to make her, so she tells him to go to the back. The boss appears and greets the employees. He opens the door telling everyone to come in. The slacker pulls the young woman in and gets in front of her. Everyone waits in the anteroom and the boss says that whoever arrived first can enter his office. The slacker gets up and enters the room mocking the young woman. Entering the room, the slacker greets the boss by asking about his pay. The boss says that he will make everyone's pay today, but that he would like to do it differently. He says that every month at pay time he wants to talk to the employees to ask each employee's opinion about what needs to be improved in the company. The boss says that the employee's opinion is very important. He asks the employee to sign the payroll and to talk about what he thinks about the company. The employee signs and says that the only problem is that there are too many lazy employees. The boss asks what is going on, and the slacker says that the employees think they are better just because they have been with the company longer. The boss says that he will hold a meeting to resolve this, and the employee says that an increase in salary would also be good because they work so hard. The boss says that he will see with the accounting people if it is possible to give them a raise. But he says that for now, he can only give overtime. Then he takes the envelope containing his paycheck and says goodbye to the boss. The young woman then enters the boss's office. The boss greets the young woman. He says that he has the young woman's paycheck and asks her to sign the payroll. Then he says that on payday he will do a feedback session with the employees to find out what each one's opinion of the company is. He asks if the young woman has any suggestions or criticisms about the company. He says that her opinion is very important for their growth. The young woman says that there are many things that can be improved, especially regarding the employees. The boss tells the young woman to explain what is going on. The young woman says that the company has a lot of work to be done and the boss has hired new employees to help, but they end up getting in the way because they don't know how to work properly. The boss says that he understands and that he will try to resolve this situation. He thanks her for her opinion and she says goodbye to her boss. Then the employee, who is only on his cell phone the whole time, comes in. The boss asks how the employee is doing. The employee says that he is fine without taking his eyes off his cell phone. The boss gives the employee his payment and asks him to sign. The boss says that he has talked to the other employees about their opinion on what needs to be improved in the company. The employee, distracted, says that he just wishes the lunch hours were longer. The boss says that he understands, but that unfortunately he cannot increase the lunch hour. He says that 1 hour is enough and asks for the employee's understanding. The employee says he understands. The boss thanks him for his opinion and says that he will try to make improvements that will please everyone. Finally, the last employee enters the room and greets the boss. The boss says that today is payday and asks the employee to sign the payroll. The employee signs and the boss asks how the employee feels about the company. He says that he is hearing some complaints from employees and asks what is going on. He asks if the employee has any complaints. The employee says that he is new to the company but is really enjoying working there and has nothing to complain about. He is grateful for the opportunity to work there. He says he is satisfied with everything. The boss says he understands and says that he asked because he heard some complaints from other employees. The employee says that this is the way it is and that every company has employees who are not satisfied with anything. He says that his focus is only to work and grow in the company. The boss thanks him and wishes him a good day. Outside, the slacker waits at the gate for the young woman. The young woman asks him what he wants, and he asks her if she has checked the money. The young woman says she saw that she has money and says she won't give it back because they work hard and deserve it. The distracted employee arrives and the slacker asks if he also received too much money. The clerk says yes and asks if they will give it back. They both say they won't, and the clerk says that if they won't give it back, he won't either. Finally, the last employee shows up and the slacker calls him fat. The employee asks what the slacker wants. The slacker asks how much he got, and the employee says that he got too much money and will give it back. He asks if theirs was too much too, and they confirm. The employee asks if they are not going to give it back. They say no, because they deserve more money. The employee says that everyone should get what is in the contract, and the young woman says that the company has money left over and they won't even miss it. The employee says he can't keep the money. The slacker tells him to think a little and says that the money is with him, so it's his. The employee says he will return it, and the slacker tells him not to talk too much. So the employee goes back to the boss's office. The boss asks what happened, and the employee explains that he received too much money and came back to give it back. The boss tells him to sit down, and the employee gives the money to the boss. The boss says that the extra money is actually a loyalty test that he did with all the employees. He says that the employee can keep the money. He says that he has had the company for 32 years and that he was surprised by the employee. He says that the employee, with only 1 month of service, was loyal and honest. He says that none of the other employees who have worked there for more than 5 years have come back to return the money. He says that this is why he wants to invite the employee to be manager of another unit of the company. He says that the branch needs an honest and decent manager like him. The employee says that he just did the right thing. The boss says that the employee passed the test and congratulates him. He says that the employee can rest assured that he will receive proper training and will be able to start this week in his new position. He says he is very happy because he is sure that the employee is ideal to fill the position. The employee thanks him and says that he will do his best for the company. The boss congratulates the employee and shakes his hand. He tells the employee to stop by the Human Resources Department for further instructions. As the employee leaves, the boss reflects that there are still honest people in the world.